In this video we'll be looking at the list of wishes that I have made. I'm going to explain to you why you shouldn't be wishing for them. The first wish on my list is wishing for an infinity of money. The problem with having an infinity of money is that any finite part of that infinity of money would be worthless in proportion to that infinity of money. Money can only be valuable when there's a finite amount of that money, and then the use of money would become obsolete. And another thought is, how are you going to keep it? If the universe is a finite size, then there won't be enough space for all that money to go. I can just imagine there being £10 and £20 notes floating across all our skies and filling up the whole of space. I would think it would be an absolute disaster, because not only might there be meteors and stars and black holes being formed out of this immense mass of all these £10 and £20 notes, but there won't be any crops growing down on the earth because all the sunlight is being blocked by all these £10 and £20 notes, and all of the infinity of money that you've wished for is covering the whole of space, and it might be the end of life since of all of the sunlight being blocked, and also particularly the possibility of all of the money having its own gravity and condensing into one pile of money in space, which could turn to a nearby black hole. So that would be a bad thing to wish for. The next wish is wishing for the ability to fly. The problem with flying is that you'd get really cold and you'd have to wear like some sort of spacesuit in the upper atmospheres to stop yourself from freezing. And it would be quite dangerous, because if you ever were to become unconscious whilst flying, then you'd fall back to the earth, and then that would be a disaster. And even in your spacesuit, you may only have a couple of days of oxygen with you, so it won't be any use trying to go to the nearest stars. Well, getting to the sun would be hard enough because it's really hot, but you definitely won't be able to go to other stars because they're so many light years away. So I think flying would actually be very limiting due to it being very cold when you're flying, and it being quite dangerous. The next wish on my list is having an infinity of wishes. Well, this would be very good, but you'd end up wishing for everything you wanted, and I think this would become quite problematic. For example, you may wish for it never to rain again, so that it will be sunny all the time, but the problem with that is that you might cause drought across all of the earth, and you might end up hurting people just through your wishing. One of your infinity of wishes might be the wish to live forever. And then you might wish for everyone to live forever, and then the population on Earth would become so dense and so chaotic that there wouldn't be enough room on Earth. So then you'd have to have so many wishes, and you'd have to keep on wishing to make up for all the wishes that you've already made. So having an infinity of wishes may end up being chaotic, and it may end up getting out of hand, particularly when the wishes are irreversible and you can't ever make it rain again. Also, eventually you'd want to live forever, and that brings me to the next wish on my list. The next wish is living forever. I think you'd get bored after about a few hundred years, so in 5 billion years when the sun starts expanding, you're going to be there living forever, and you might have to sit through it. You might have to be inside the sun whilst you're living forever, and that would be a bad idea. You may end up having an eternity of boredom. The next wish on my list is the ability to do anything. I think this would lead to much contradiction. For example, you might end up wanting to make a stone that you can't lift. But of course you should be able to lift any object. So this is the omnipotence paradox, where you've created a stone that's too heavy for you to lift. The wish would be self-contradictory. Also, it would lead you to be quite powerful, and people around you would start even doubting themselves over whether they have free will, because if you have the ability to do anything, then you could be forcing them to do things, like make cups of tea and sit there and talk to them, and the people wouldn't be sure on whether they're doing that out of their own free will or because you're making them do it. So I think you lose a lot of friends over having the ability to do anything, so that would be a bad wish. The last wish is the ability to hear people's thoughts. The wish of hearing everybody's thoughts may be good if you wanted to hear what people are thinking, but I think it would end up being catastrophic, and you'd get so many voices inside your head and you wouldn't have room for your own thoughts. So walking along the street, instead of thinking about normal things and getting on with your day, you'd just be overcrowded and overburdened with all the thoughts of all the people walking past you. And also, making friends would be particularly difficult because you'd hear all the mean things and all the negative things that you're best off not hearing in other people's heads, and it might cause you to have incredible loneliness because you want to be by yourself, to have peace and quiet, and to get away from everybody else's thoughts. So I think that that would be a bad wish. Having gone through my list of wishes, maybe everything is absolutely fine as it is. Thank you for watching.